In the Stardew Valley official guidebook, it states that there is no wrong way to experience Stardew Valley. Over the next 40 hours of gameplay, however, I would unintentionally push this statement to its absolute limits, creating the worst save file ever conceived. The root cause of this save file all started with one simple question. Could you beat Stardew Valley, a cozy farming game with some life sim elements, with no tools? The rules for the challenge were pretty simple. Firstly, I wasn't able to utilize any tools found in the game, so no starter tools like the axe or hoe, but also tools you get later on such as the fishing rod and pan. Secondly, there are many different ways people consider beating Stardew Valley, but for this playthrough I decided my win condition would either be completing the community center or finishing the Joja Mart route. Also, this wasn't really a concrete goal, but a lot of similar Stardew challenge runs to this one ended up having a really messy farm by the end of them. So for this video, I wanted to make as good of a farm as I could with 0 tools. What was such a simple question, however, devolved into the most mind-numbing, cruel, and heartless playthrough of Stardew Valley I've ever seen. There was nuclear warfare, unpaid labor, and attempting to get somebody out of the picture, all while residing in a home of filth. But worst of all, I had to spend $32 plus tax and shipping on this stupid book for only the intro to this video. I genuinely have no other use for this. This is Can You Beat Stardew Valley with No Tools? And our story begins with the creation of our little farmer. After designing my farmer, I decided to name her Schmeagle, and ended up calling her farm Yuri Farm. This is because I'm trying to will into existence that Schmeagle will fall in love with another woman in Pelican Town. By the end of this playthrough, this name will live up to its expectations. Trust me. Now, I don't really know what Schmeagle's favorite thing is, but she's white, so coleslaw is a pretty safe bet. And I decided to choose the beach farm option for reasons you'll see later. So, I made my way into the first day of the game, and was immediately met with 2 large problems in my way. Firstly, I'll need to find a way to earn money with no tools. Pelican Town is still a capitalist society after all, so I'll need some cash to buy certain things for the playthrough. Without tools, however, this leaves options like fishing or mining ores for money totally out of the equation right now. Now, I would just farm crops for cash, as that's easily the best money-making method, but that's our second problem. Without a hoe to till the land or a watering can to water any seeds we plant, we currently are unable to grow anything. I'll be honest, for around the first 5 hours of my playthrough, it was pretty mind-numbing, as we only have 2 good ways to make money. Our first method involves us acting homeless. As in Pelican Town, there are many trash bins scattered around we can search to find different items. Funnily enough, each of these trash bins have their own loot tables of items you can find in them, such as the Stardrop Saloon sometimes dropping its dish of the day, and the trash can for Evelyn's home can even drop cookies. It's pretty unlikely we'll even get anything out of searching these each day, but by selling these items in our shipping bin, we can make a bit of extra cash. Our second method of earning money, though, is a little better for us, as it involves us foraging around the valley for different items to pick up. Different forageable items grow through the different seasons, and we can find these lying on the ground and pick them up in order to sell them for some cash. These money-making methods made my entire route for the spring of Stardew Valley pretty boring, though. I'd spend hours of my time making Schmeagle walk around town each day searching through trash or foraging just to very slowly get our money up. It was pretty torturous. While going through this route, though, I made sure to talk to a very specific villager to increase my hearts with them. A woman who would be absolutely perfect as Schmeagle's wife for the farm. Of course, I'm talking about Caroline.
When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while, 'cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are. Yeah.
Oh, Caroline, she was perfect. Her basic design, her forgettable dialogue, her non-existent personality, she was perfect. Did I ever mention that in Stardew Valley you can marry some of the townsfolk and have them move in with you on your farm? And Caroline isn't one of them. So it turns out that Caroline is already a married woman in Stardew Valley, as she's already bound to Pierre, the most money-hungry character in the entire game. Now, here's a bit of a lore drop for those who are unaware. In Stardew Valley, there are two businesses you can side with over the course of the game, Pierre's and Joja Mart. If we decide to complete the game with the community center route, we'll be siding with Pierre, but if we do the Joja route, we'll side with Joja Mart. A lot of Stardew Valley players will try to get you to believe that Joja Mart is the true evil of this game, but I don't care because Pierre is a capitalist bum who doesn't care about his family. Throughout almost every single event in the game held in Pelican Town, Pierre is always there with a shop stand trying to make a quick buck, even though Caroline always wishes he'd spend more time with his family. It doesn't help that he literally has a religious altar inside his store building. He's totally just using that to make his business one big tax write-off. I don't care if Joja is objectively the evil route that ruins the town. I'll be completing that route just to show how much I hate Pierre. This actually works out pretty well for us though, as while the community center requires us to grab a bunch of different items to complete it, we only need money to finish the Joja route, which we've already been working on. And to help in our plan and take Pierre down, we'll need some help from his wife. You see, after talking to Caroline every day for 2 weeks straight and giving her gifts, I was able to enter her green room, and the next day I was awarded the tea sapling recipe. This is easily our best moneymaker early on in this playthrough. By combining wild seeds, wood, and fiber, we can make tea saplings which sell for 250 gold each. We're pretty easily able to mass produce these as the ingredients required aren't hard to get. The wild seeds we can just craft using the forageables around the map, and the wood we can just buy from Robin's carpentry shop. The only seemingly difficult item in the recipe for us to get is the fiber, but by entering the mines for the first time, we're awarded a rusty sword to use, and we can actually use this sword on our farm to break grass and obtain the fiber. Oh, and just for clarification, the weapons in this game, like swords and clubs, are classified differently than the tools, so luckily they're fair game for us to use in this challenge. Now, this still required me to make Schmiegel roam the same areas over and over for the forageables required to make the tea saplings. For me, this was still pretty boring. I did try and get Schmiegel to talk to some villagers on our foraging route, but they gave some pretty weird remarks back. Hello, neighbor! I don't even have it in me this time, just bring him in. Okay guys, look, I'll be blunt with you all and say that I don't think this video is gonna do well at all compared to my FNaF content, so if you'd consider liking the video and subscribing, I'd appreciate that a ton. This challenge took me double the length of my second longest video to record all the footage for, so if you could give this video some love, it'd be wonderful. Thanks. Thankfully, Schmiegel did end up making one friend while foraging named Linus, the outcast and essentially homeless man of Stardew Valley. I did this mainly to keep my relationships tab filled with only real ones. I only keep two types of people on speed dial, MILFs and the homeless. And to keep my friendship hearts rising with Linus and Caroline, I would periodically give them gifts to make them happy. However, that wasn't the only thing that was rising.
Oh hey farmer, what you got there?
A boner? Just know that throughout this entire challenge, I'll be talking to and giving these guys gifts to rank up their friendship with Schmiegel. I'm still dead set on getting Schmiegel x Caroline Yuri one way or another. Now, even though we have a decent source of income, we still need to find a way to actually farm in our farming game. This may seem daunting with no tools, but if America has ever taught me anything, I know there is always one easy solution to any problem in your way. Bombs. Bombs always solve everything. Because we chose the beach farm for our playthrough, sometimes supply crates can wash up on shore, and sometimes they can hold cherry bombs, allowing us to finally farm crops. You see, the fundamental idea of farming in Stardew Valley involves firstly a hoe to till the dirt, and secondly a watering can to water any planted crops. However, we can instead replace these by using a bomb to explode the land, leaving a crater behind that quote-unquote tills the land, and afterwards using sprinklers to automatically water our crops. Of course, you may be wondering how we're even going to get sprinklers, but thankfully in Stardew Valley, every Friday and Sunday, a traveling merchant shows up that sells a random assortment of items. Usually, her stock is just a complete Ed Netty tier scam of money, like 1,000 gold for one piece of wood, but she can sometimes sell us both bombs and sprinklers. Essentially, we can just nuke our very own farm in order to grow different crops, which the townsfolk may be a bit concerned about. Jesus Christ, what have you been given? A boner? Anyways, by the end of spring, it seemed like I had everything figured out, right? Just forage for tea sapling materials and cultivate crops with the help of bombs and sprinklers. However, by looking at the bigger picture, I still had an incredibly long road ahead of me. I was making some money, sure, but to complete the entire Joja route for Stardew Valley and win the challenge, we need to purchase all 5 of the town upgrades on the community development forum, which, including the Joja membership to unlock it, costs us 140,000 gold. Our money-making method is still pretty slow and would make reaching this amount take forever. And it doesn't help that in summer, all my spring crops died out and I didn't have enough bombs to clear them all out and start planting again. Bombs always solve everything, so if I could just get more without waiting for crates to wash up, I could expand Yuri Farm's empire. But luckily, I knew a way to get my hands on more of them. What if I told you we could manufacture our own explosives? Yes, that's right. After a quick Google search, I learned you could craft your very own bombs. How do I craft a nuclear bomb? Okay, the feds don't want me telling you this, but there is a way to make your very own bombs. Although we need to do a bit of prep work first. I'll just cut to the chase here and say the entirety of summer was incredibly boring. Every week I made Schmeagle sleep through Monday through Thursday and only made her go out on Fridays and Sundays to check out both the traveling cart and her favorite MILF. This left just Saturdays to pick up all the forageables. And I ended up stockpiling enough of these to make a ton of tea saplings. By the end of summer, I had so many of these alongside other goodies that I made over 30,000 gold in a single day. From here, we could finally purchase the Joja membership and the first upgrade on the Joja community development forum, the Quarry. And finally, our nuclear empire could finally begin. With our first Joja town upgrade unlocked, the bridge to the quarry, we could now use both it and the mines to farm infinite bombs. In the quarry, rocks and ore nodes will slowly generate each day, and by bombing them, I was able to get enough mining XP to unlock the crafting recipe for cherry bombs. By combining 4 copper ore and only 1 coal, I could finally make my very own bomb. Due to this, I was able to use these newly crafted bombs to blow up more copper nodes, giving me more materials for more bombs. I essentially could get more resources than it took to craft my bombs, so I could exponentially increase the amount I had even more. Yeah, that's right. The Minecraft cobblestone generator was the pussy shit. This is the real man's infinite generator. Hey, I did it. No, I messed it up! Oh, and speaking of pussies, earlier in this playthrough, I ended up getting an animal for Yuri Farm. Although I chose the dog instead of the cat and named her Momo. She's been pretty lonely for a while, but during the fall to winter season, I was able to accomplish 2 goals for the playthrough. The first being upgrading the farm tremendously. With the gold I've obtained by foraging, I was able to buy a chicken coop for the farm. After all, if America has ever taught me anything, it's that bombs always solve everything, yeah, but also that using unpaid labor is the key to success. Momo was now joined by her chicken friends Okaroon, Ira, and Gigi. I just gotta make sure to keep Ira away from my explosives. I really don't need to see her get blown up a second time. Now, I didn't really know what to name the last chicken, so I ended up just naming him after the creator of the chicken, John Chicken. The question, was it the chicken or the egg that came first, can go die in a fire. I know the chicken's true origin. Something else I'd like to add is that ever since the start of this playthrough, Yuri Farm has been overrun with a lot of debris, and we haven't really been able to clear any of it out thus far. Bombs always solve everything though, so throughout the coming seasons, I was able to remove a ton of it, finally giving us ample space to walk around comfortably. We'll just need to make sure to blow up more debris every once in a while so the farm doesn't get overrun again. But just as long as Schmeagle has a reason to get up in the morning, we'll be fine. Later on in winter, I was also able to upgrade the coop and bought 4 ducks to go alongside the chickens. Meet Pim, Charlie, Alan, and Gleb. These guys alongside my chickens really helped me smile, as I was able to use the eggs that they laid for money, either by just dropping them in the shipping bin or turning them into mayonnaise with some machines I set up. With no tools, animals really seem to be our best moneymaker. All they require us to do is give them food every day and show them some love love to have them produce higher quality eggs. The materials for the mayonnaise machines also aren't hard to get either. The animals don't really need a lot of attention throughout the day though, so most of the time I'd be accomplishing my second goal throughout fall and winter, which is attempting to get through all 120 floors of the mines. Due to us being able to grind out infinite bombs, we can blow up all the rocks in the cave instead of using a pickaxe to break them, therefore spawning exits for us to go deeper down. Also, the caves are even more beneficial for us compared to the quarry. We can not only blow up ore nodes to get more materials for more bombs, but we can also find enemies like Duggies who can drop a bomb upon defeat. Our only real problem is that grinding out bombs in the caves to go deeper is still a chore to do. Collectively, I spent almost 5 hours in this playthrough resetting the same cave floors over and over to respawn materials and slowly get more bombs. The majority of fall and winter was just this. For me, this was a pretty terrible experience. It wasn't fun for me to accomplish, but eventually on winter 18, I got Schmeagle through all 120 floors of the mines, grabbing the skull key to unlock the skull caverns when we made it to the desert. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about something I feel I need to emphasize a bit more, and that's time. In real time, when I actually reached the bottom of the mines in winter, I was over 20 hours deep in this playthrough. There's simply so much footage here that I'm bound to leave things out so this video isn't an hour long. For example, you may be wondering how I even got crab pots behind my home so I can catch fish in the sea without a fishing rod. But that would take like an entire page of explanation, and I'm not wasting my time going over something that had little effect on the overall playthrough. Still, I'm at least thankful that the real time I spent in Stardew Valley isn't synced to the in-game time. If I had to spend multiple months either foraging in the same areas over and over or leaving and re-entering the same caves, I would have spiraled ages ago. Just to give you all an idea of how long I spent in the caves, in Stardew Valley there are a collection of books that you can read to increase your XP in a certain stat or give you an ability, and these can very rarely be dropped by mobs. However, I spent so long in the caves that I ended up getting 7 of these total, with the majority of them only being a 0.018% chance of dropping, aka a 1 in 5,555 chance. These weren't the only lucky drops I got in the playthrough though. I had searched so many trash bins for money that I ended up getting both a garbage hat for Schmeagle and a trash compendium, which provides access to a ton of crusty furniture. Later on, I also tailored the full trash outfit for her, so I not only made Schmeagle a piece of garbage, but also decorated her entire home in filth. Now, for this No Tools challenge, I failed to talk about a lot of the Pelican Town events in Stardew Valley that happen in every season, but there were 2 very important ones in this playthrough. The first was the Stardew Valley Fair and Fall, in which there's not only a gambling minigame, which I may have played a bit too much, but also a display section where you can showcase your items. I attempted to kill Pierre at this event by smuggling my collection of bombs in and rigging my stand with explosives, but unfortunately, this prideful asshole wouldn't walk away from his own display stand once to check out mine. I'll get that sleazeball out of the equation somehow. I will get my Yuri on Yuri Farm. Oh, and just to clarify, when it rolled around to Caroline's birthday in winter, I gave her a gift. And by this point, Schmeagle had talked with her so much that this was the final push needed for their max friendship level. But finally, our second important event befell upon us on the 25th of winter, the Winter Star Festival. This one's mainly just a secret Santa event where you get assigned a random villager to give a gift to, but I have to say, I am surprised I got Leah for the event. I mean, she was literally in the post-credit scene of the Minecraft movie. She should be living in Hollywood at this point.
Hey, you wanna come in? I'm
Leah! After giving Alex Minecraft her gift though, I ended up obtaining a gift from Robin, and I received 25 hardwood. Now, to the average viewer, this doesn't seem like a noteworthy gift at all, but for a No Tools run, this 25 hardwood was the catalyst for something extraordinary. Okay, I'll be honest with you all and say that the original goal for this challenge, that being to complete Joja Mart's takeover of Pelican Town by completing its route with no tools, is pretty anticlimactic. Just like American capitalism, we can leech off our unpaid laborers, our animals, to get an absurd amount of money. By year 2, Yuri Farm had a coop, a fish pond, a silo, and tons of crops growing. Money-wise, we are totally fine. By the spring of year 2, I even ended up getting the most expensive Joja upgrade, that being the bus repair so we could finally go to the desert. It's only a matter of time before we eventually win the challenge. This is where Robin's 25 hardwood comes into play, and the true goal of this challenge arises. You see, after finishing Joja's takeover of Pelican Town, we can gain access to repairing Willie's boat. And if we fix it up, we'll be able to take a trip to Ginger Island, the late game area of Stardew Valley. I decided to tack on fixing this boat as a bonus goal for the playthrough. First, we have to finish up the rest of the Joja Mart upgrades so they can take over the town, but after that, we'll fix the boat and make it to Ginger Island. To fix the boat though, we'll need to get our hands on 5 battery packs, 5 iridium bars, and 200 hardwood. Now, the battery packs and iridium bars aren't hard to get even with no tools. For the batteries, I just use lightning rods to produce them, and for the iridium bars, I use bombs in the desert skull cavern for the ore. Even if I'm about to die in the caves, you can literally stop time itself by eating a food item to heal up. The enemies are forced to watch you savor every bite, and there's absolutely nothing they can do. This just leaves the 200 hardwood, which in a no tools run is near impossible to get your hands on. You see, to obtain hardwood in bulk, you're intended to upgrade your axe in order to break large stumps to get the stuff. But with no tools, there's no way to break these stumps, so you have to work around this by using immensely more tedious methods to get the hardwood. For example, in YouTuber Salmon's video in which he did a similar challenge, instead of being able to break stumps, he had to get multiple fish ponds set up to slowly gift him the hardwood. By the time he got all 200, he was in year 9 of the playthrough. I had a few ideas on how to get hardwood myself, but unfortunately, a boner won't work here. This is where the residents of Pelican Town come into play, and their generosity truly shines. I don't know why they'd be so friendly in helping Schmeagol repair the boat even after she's been helping Joja take over the town, but Robin gifted her 25 out of the 200 hardwood necessary to fix it. But not just that. Since we fixed the bus, we now have access to the Desert Festival throughout the 15th to 17th of every spring. In the festival, you can use the event's currency, Calico Eggs, to buy products from 2 out of 27 randomly selected villagers each day. Each of these villagers have their very own predetermined list of items they sell, and who shows up is entirely randomized for every event. I ended up plugging my save file into a Stardew Valley save predictor, and it not only said that during year 2 Maru would be chosen to sell iridium bars which we can use for the boat, but during both years 3 and 4 our favorite movie star Leah would be there to sell 100 hardwood both times, putting us over our goal of 200 hardwood to fix the boat if we buy out our stock each festival. Keep in mind, there are only 3 days to the event, which means only 6 out of the 27 villagers are chosen as shopkeepers each year. The fact that we conveniently got multiple villagers to give us exactly what we need to leave for Ginger Island is nothing short of incredible. Robin, Maru, Leah, really, the whole town wants us to leave for the island, huh? Anyways, the rest of the playthrough ended up becoming a bit of a blur for me. By around the end of year 2's summer, I had all the money I'd need to purchase the rest of the Joja upgrades, including the minecarts, panning, and greenhouse for Yuri Farm. Finally finishing up the Joja route. The people of Stardew Valley may hate this new corporate takeover of the town, but it was simply more convenient for my challenge rather than repairing that complex community center. But once I finished the Joja route, Schmeagol didn't really have anything to do while waiting for the desert festivals to roll around. After all, they're all a year apart from each other. I got pretty bored at this point, so I just made her sleep through almost every single day. Very few times I'd take her out to the mines and grind out more bombs, but once I reached over 100 in my inventory, there was no point for her to do anything but sleep. I ended up upgrading Schmeagol's chicken coop and installed a silo so she could automatically feed her chickens. Schmeagol was automatically making thousands upon thousands by doing absolutely nothing with her life. By living this incredibly sedimentary lifestyle, however, Schmeagol didn't really talk to anybody for the rest of years 2, 3, and 4. And without this contact to her friends and causing the town's Joja takeover, the few friendships she had started to fade away. The same went for her animals too. With her not needing to feed or pet them each day, their connection slowly waned. And all Schmeagol did for years was just lie in her bed and sleep. Her farm slowly became overrun again, her room was a mess, she never got out of bed, and it was time for the Desert Festival to get the hardwood I'd need for the boat, so I made Schmiegel get out of her bed and finish this challenge once and for all. Years 3 and 4 of the Desert Festival came around, and all that I needed to obtain now was 300 calico eggs at each one to buy out Leah's entire stock of hardwood, putting us at over the 200 necessary to repair the boat. This does seem like a daunting task, but thanks to the absurd amount of bombs I grinded out, I was able to enter the Skull Caverns to farm a ton of eggs. By making it down far enough, you're able to cash in a huge egg bonus at the Adventurers Guild. So I did this both times to get me all the eggs necessary for the hardwood. Leah arrived right as expected on both years 3 and 4, and I was able to buy out her entire stock of hardwood to put me over the 200 necessary to repair the boat. The townsfolk of Pelican Town were all oddly cooperative in giving Schmiegel all the materials she'd need to take a trip to Ginger Island. And after putting all the materials in, spring 17 of year 4 arrived. This was the end. I put all the iridium bars, battery packs, and hardwood at the broken boat so Willie and Robin could get it fixed, and it was now time for Schmiegel to leave Stardew Valley. I put her on the boat and sent her out to Ginger Island, but in the back of my mind, something didn't sit right with me. I mean, it's too convenient, right? All the townsfolk just so happened to give Schmiegel all the materials she needed to repair the boat and leave. At every possible point, they collectively made this happen with items near impossible for her to get otherwise. I don't know why they'd be so friendly even after Schmiegel caused the Joja takeover of the town. I mean, she had some hearts with a few of them, but those relationships started to fade away after a while, so they shouldn't have been so friendly. I finally understand it now. They weren't being friendly to her at all. They didn't just want Schmiegel to leave for Ginger Island, they wanted her banished to Ginger Island. It makes sense. This entire time she's been assisting the Joja Corporation to help take over Pelican Town. Of course they'd hate her for it. That's why they've all been so helpful in giving her the materials necessary to repair the boat. They all want her gone. But this wouldn't have happened if I just decided to not make the boat completion a part of the goal. If I didn't decide to do all this. I can't blame Schmiegel for this at all. She never decided to do what she did. Schmiegel may have carried out these actions, but the root cause of why she did them was me. At every moment, at every option, at every decision, it's all been me. All these cruel actions, like helping Joja take over Pelican Town, I controlled her to do it for my own benefit to help my own agenda. But it doesn't just stop there. In the wake of my own wishes to beat this challenge, I ruined her life! I was so focused on my struggles. Oh, I spent hours foraging materials over and over. Oh, I spent hours in the same caves for bombs. Schmiegel had to carry out these monotonous and tormenting tasks for months, even years. Eventually, because I got bored, I made Schmiegel sleep for years in her home and do nothing with her life, all while being encased and surrounded by filth. And for what? So she can watch all her relationships die out? So she can watch her farm fall apart? So she can be taunted by the facade of a woman whose love always seems so near, yet always out of reach. I've been so blinded by my own problems, so focused on my 40 hours in Stardew Valley, that I failed to realize just how much longer Schmiegel had gone through this torment, and just how much worse it's been for her. Yeah, I won my stupid challenge, but that doesn't matter anymore. Schmiegel's now stuck on Ginger Island, banished away by everyone in Pelican Town. And as the sands of time continue to flow for all eternity, Schmiegel will reside on its shores, completely and utterly alone. I need to make this right. I can't just leave her here. I gave her this fate and changed her life for the worse, which only means I also have the ability to change her story for the better. But what does Schmiegel even have at this point? Sure, she helped give the town upgrades, but it's all under the watchful eye of the Joja Corporation, who the town despises. Besides that, she only has about 100,000 gold saved up and a stack of bombs left. How can any of these solve her problems? But if America has ever taught me anything, I know there is always one easy solution to any problem in your way. Bombs. Bombs always solve everything. Bombs always solve everything, though. Bombs always solve everything. Bombs always solve everything. Bombs always solve everything. Bombs. Bombs always solve everything. Wait. What if I send her back, right? And I bomb the Joja Corporation out of Pelican Town. If she just uses her bombs to wipe them off the map, they'll be gone from the town for good. The townspeople will be happy, and she can begin to rebuild her place in Pelican Town again. Oh my god. I can salvage this and give her a happy ending. I can make things right! You know, I've always believed in the idea that our mistakes don't define who we are as people. After getting rid of Joja for good, I hope the townspeople can forgive Schmeagle for what she did, and maybe one day she'll forgive me for what I made her do. It won't be right away, but just as time can usher in pain and misery, it also has the ability to heal all wounds. And hey, with 100,000 gold to her name, Schmeagle can bring some beautiful new renovations to the farm. And some love as well. I mean, come on. Everybody loves a sugar mama. Oh, and before I forget... Wait, Schmeagle! Be sure to take this mod before you go! It won't be easy, but I think until the end of time, Schmeagle's future in Stardew Valley will be shining bright.